Thank you so much for staying with us, for joining the conversation. This is AM Talk, and we're discussing myriad matters with our guests. Robert Ahomka-Lindsay is a former Deputy Trades Minister. He also is a member of the NPP's security team. He joins the conversation. Lawyer Kojoga Adawudu is a member of the NDC's legal team as well. We're also going to have join the conversation, especially as we delve into the matter of security, Professor Vladimir Enchidan, so international relations and security analyst, as well as Adam Bona, a security analyst. Let's start from here. I honestly would have started off with you two gentlemen, but thank you for coming. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Pleasure to be here.
I would have started off with you on the tangent of national security, but you just made mention of something topical, something that we can't run away from. And I would have us take bite-sized, attempts at reaching out on those matters. It has to do with the carnage on our roads, Mr. Ahomka-Lindsay.
It is, first of all, good morning. Good to be here at Joy News TV, here with your audience. The level of carnage, death on our roads, to me is a national crisis, truly. Over 1,000 people in the first 3 months directly. God knows how many are also affected. Families as a result of perhaps a breadwinner not being there. Mm-hmm. And I really believe we need to start looking at this thing with some vigor. Whether it is technology in terms of, we talked about this, I remember in the past, where we talked about having inhibitors in the vehicles that cannot go beyond a certain level.
Right.
I often
so they peg you at a certain level.
You can't go beyond. I believe some of these things we need to start looking at. I was coming from Kumawu over Sunday, and some of the vehicles overtaking me, I was frightened because they were full of people, and God forbid anything happened to them. Because of the nature of the vehicles, everybody would perish if there is an accident. And I believe this is something we really need to look at, especially when you know we have some challenges in parts of our roads. You have to be mindful of that. The other thing is the discipline of driving. Some of them, you call them racers because it seems they're in a rush to get from A to B without mindful of the people and the real responsibility they have on them when you have 15, 20, 40 people whose lives are in your hands. And you're driving as if you're on a Formula One motorway heading to I don't know where. But the level of death, it's simply, to me, unacceptable.
Right.
And we need to have a campaign, look at some of these issues, the vehicles, seat belts, technology to help us manage some of these things, further training, driver, making sure we have the right quality drivers, that particularly for the commercial. I think that is critical. Okay,
so drivers, what sorts of drivers do we have on our roads? That's something you're saying we ought to look at. Of course, pegging the speed limits, among others. Both of you are lawmakers, Lawyer Dawood, well, for you at least, but I, from the standpoint of the law, I would have put that to you because you have been a former lawmaker. What do you think? What else do you think we can do in terms of the law to ensure that we achieve the sort of results we do? Because we've spoken about this matter, and this year it's been particularly bad.
Terrible.
The first quarter, 1,034 people plus, those injured severely and all of that. Terrible.
I think let me say good morning to you and good morning to our viewers. This road accident thing, it's really a crisis. I would say it's a public health issue. And as you're saying from the legal point of view or the lawmaking, I think that the sanction regime is not effective. Two, one of the biggest problems we have as a people or a nation is the influence peddling. When there is indiscipline on the road and somebody has been arrested, the next thing you see is that he calls maybe his MP. The MP will call the police, oyemeba, munshe muna munjano. So what lesson is he learning? The next time he goes indiscipline on the road, the police are called. Instead of the police would also arrest and send him to court for sanctions, penal sanctions to be meted out to the person. They feel even when we take him, our superiors will leave them because there's influence peddling. I think when you look at the numbers, that should be one of the things we should be looking at. The other day I was making some suggestions as I was discussing that, look, if we have the regime, sanction regime, where you are not sent to jail, when there's indiscipline, you don't wear your seat belt, you are arrested, they make you go and farm. The states will benefit from it. And when they make you farm for 3-6 months, I'm sure the next time when you come and you are driving, you'll be careful because you won't want to go through such experiences. I'm not saying that farming is not, because everybody is made. The moment you break the law, you are caught. And you see the number of people who reform.
Right.
It's really something that we need to do. Because if you look at the number of people dying, they're dependent. Where are we getting to? Almost every weekend, you have to attend funerals. It's either an accident, and the number of people dying through accident are more than even the COVID, the other sicknesses. Why should it be so? It's frightening. It's frightening. And you may be very defensive driving, somebody's careless on the road and wipe you away. They wipe you and the family away.
Yeah.
Due to carelessness. And when the person calls, and you know, when the person is no more, the usual thing we do as society, we go to call the pastor or the paramount chief, they come to the family, oh, we are sorry, our son is sorry. And that's the end of it. That is the end of it. They buy coffin and dole out some stipends to you. And that ends the matter. It is something we need to take and look at it.
All right. So we need to take and look at it. I mean, this was not planned, so to speak, but as the two gentlemen who have joined me in the studio were actually discussing on it right before we got on air, I felt it was something that at least we ought to touch on. And you hear them. They are affected by the carnage. They feel it. Let's all be responsible and stay alive.